Anne Frank would have been 96 today, and she could still conceivably have been alive. But instead she died in Bergen-Belsen concentration camp just weeks before the camp's liberation. She was 15 years old, and this is why her diary still matters. So Anne's parents were Otto and Edith Frank, and she had an older sister called Margot. The Franks moved to Amsterdam in 1934, obviously fleeing the rise of anti-Semitism with the Nazis in Germany. And in July 1942, after Margot had received a deportation notice, the Frank family went into hiding. They hid in a concealed annex behind Otto Frank's business premises, and they were later joined by 4 other people, the Van Pels family and a guy called Fritz Pfeffer. Now, the annex was hidden behind a movable bookcase and remained their home for over 2 years. And they lived in constant fear, had to be silent during working hours, and relied on a few trusted helpers for food, supplies, updates from the outside world. Anne received her now famous red and white checkered diary on her 13th birthday, and actually began writing in it just weeks before going into hiding. She documented daily life in the annex, her fears, her hopes, her relationships, and her thoughts on humanity, which were often very positive. She actually ended up revising parts of the diary herself in 1944 because she heard on the radio that diaries could become important historical documents, and she wanted to publish it under the title The Secret Annex after the war. On the 4th of August 1944, the annex was raided by the Gestapo following an anonymous tip, and the 8 people in hiding were arrested and deported to Westerbork transit camp, then to Auschwitz. And in November 1944, Anne and Margot were transported to Bergen-Belsen concentration camp, and both sisters died of typhus in early 1945, just weeks before the camp's liberation. Only Otto Frank survived the Holocaust, and after returning to Amsterdam, he was given Anne's preserved diary by Miep Gies, one of the family's helpers, and he fulfilled Anne's wish by arranging for its publication in 1947 under the title Het Achterhuis, The Secret Annex. The diary has since been translated into more than 70 languages and sold over 30 million copies worldwide. But why does it still matter today? Well, Anne's diary provides an intimate first-person account of the Holocaust, amazingly from the perspective of a teenage girl. She's honest, she's thoughtful, she's funny, but it's devastating as well. And it really kind of makes the horrors of the Holocaust relatable on a human level. I think the danger is when you hear statistics and numbers and it kind of doesn't let you realise the human impact, kind of that hatred and that persecution. And Anne's diary does just that. And her writings have become fundamental to study of the Holocaust and the understanding of the Holocaust and of the Second World War. The Anne Frank House in Amsterdam is still a museum and a global site of remembrance and education. And in a time when people deny the Holocaust and kind of the world is full of hate and bigotry all over again, the perspective of a teenage girl during the worst imaginable ordeal is pretty valuable and pretty humbling to this day.